Let's get this going. Alright. So, as I get my Twitch thing up and going, I was going to create a video at the same time. So, what I was wanting to talk about today was the TAZZ podcast and the Something to Wrestle With podcast that Bruce Prichard does. And if you guys haven't caught those podcasts, those are really cool podcasts to listen to. So jump on Spotify, jump on YouTube, or is it iTunes? Spotify. Pretty much, I think anywhere you can catch a podcast, I'm pretty sure that's where they have something. So go check those out. It's TAZZ Show podcast and Something to Wrestle With Bruce Prichard, and he's got a co-host too. I can't remember what his co-host was, but check those out. So the TAZZ Show podcast, Friday's episode was it was a throwback snack that he's been doing, and it had the interview with Finn Balor in it. And that interview that he has with that, they talk about the NXT, because he had just won the NXT title, and what it's taken for him to get to NXT at that point. And I think I listened to that interview a while ago before, and it was a pretty good interview. He talked about, the people that he wrestled with in New Japan. He gave credit to all those people that, helped him get to where he was at. He talked about what his life was like a little bit. I don't go too far into in-depth stuff with that, but it was interesting to hear his points of view on what the road was, and what his life like is. So that was pretty cool. These new TAZZ podcasts that are out, they're not live much anymore now. They're more just a podcast. Or audio on demand, audio, things like that. He used to have a live show in the mornings, and used to, take calls and have all these different kind of sound effects during his show and everything. And it was pretty cool to listen to the next morning, and when you were heading somewhere, it was easy to listen to, because as far as when you're not listening to it live, you didn't have to worry about the commercials all the time. So those live shows, those on-demand versions, but live shows were pretty cool, because you got to hear people from New York call in and talk. And he would have people call in from all over the world, and just ask a question, and he would answer. Sometimes he wouldn't answer, or sometimes he doesn't give like the whole behind the scenes kind of thing away, all the time, because he still wants to kind of keep the business intact. he doesn't want to give too many secrets away. So it's cool to hear his insights because of, who he is and what he's done. It's nice to be informed from him. The Something to Wrestle With podcast with Bruce Prichard. Those are awesome bits and pieces of information, because sometimes the podcast is a 3-hour podcast. Sometimes it's just a 2-hour podcast. Sometimes it's a short podcast. It's all over the board with him. But they do this thing where they do put posts that are polls out, and they have they, based on those polls, they'll have something to talk with for the next week's podcast and stuff. And the one that I listened to was the latest one that I listened to was the Raw talking about the Raw that won the ratings war for them, or that was like the one that basically took over and helped them start winning the ratings war with Monday Night Nitro. So that was, they talked about like the different matches, and just went through the whole night on what Vince was thinking throughout the time. And that was the Monday night where Stone Cold went out, and he basically asked for Vince McMahon to come out, I guess, and fought with him, or basically challenged him to a match, and said that he could beat him with one hand tied behind his back. And if I'm not mistaken, that's also the same night that Mick Foley won the title too.
And that's why the adage holds true.
No, that wasn't. That was a different one.
I think you're right. I believe that's the first time he's ever attempted this.
Because that night he had that blue title. It was a whole different title situation. So that was my bad. That's my bad. I was thinking something totally different. But if you haven't listened to any of that his insight, because he's not a wrestler, but he's been part of the business. He's been, that insight from him is just unbelievably cool to hear. So if you haven't listened to it, I look for it, I believe, anywhere that you can get a podcast. It's called Something to Wrestle with Bruce Prichard.
He's on the defensive here. Well, he knew this was going to be a fight heading into this one.
If you guys want more podcasts, just comment below on if there's one that you've heard of, or one that I didn't mention between those two, that you think is a really good one. I'd be interested in listening to it too, because I'm a wrestling enthusiast. I like listening to all of that stuff, because to me that's just that the stories are just unbelievable in what they do. So, comment below and tell me what you think. If you guys listen to the podcasts, if you guys have any of the new ones, or any of the ones that I haven't listened to, just tell me. That would be cool to listen to. So I will leave you guys at that, and I will talk to you later. Be safe and have a good day.